Serina! Serina, where are you? Tomatoes. Where was I? Oh yeah. Serina!
Hey! Smacking me in the face.
I've been looking for you everywhere.
Well, I don't know where you've been all day because we've harvested all the flowers and all the veggies too. At this point, the only work left to do is to make bouquets, and you always slack off on that one.
Every Friday night, our flowers go through a transformation where while I am sleeping softly in my bed, Serina is busy fiddling away in our flower room, putting together bouquets of all sorts of color combinations and different shapes and sizes for me to wake up to in the morning and come out and admire and then take down to the market and sell. I love doing this because it's so fun to be down at the market and be just surrounded by all these beautiful colors. I try to remind myself that even though, you know, we are farmers as a profession, lots of people would do this, you know, as their retirement if they had the choice. So I feel really lucky just to be surrounded by all these things that make people so happy. Having so many different bouquets makes it easy to sell because every single customer can find something that speaks specifically to them, that they see and they're like, oh, that one.
When I put the bouquets together, I'm actually really intentional about trying to make different styles look distinct. I know that, you know, perfect example, white bouquets. If all I did was make white bouquets, we wouldn't sell any because those never sell good at the market. By having a bunch of different looks, my hope is that I'm going to appeal to a bunch of different customers and therefore sell the most bouquets possible down at the market. It can be really challenging sometimes because it feels like every week when I come into the room with everything picked, there's always an overwhelming amount of like one thing. This week, specifically sunflowers. There's a lot of sunflowers. And so it can feel easy for that one flower to just kind of take over. So I'm actually intentional when I'm doing it to try to make it so it doesn't just look like sunflowers, you know, with different options. The other way that I go about doing this is that I'm kind of intentional about what I grow. Zinnias are the bread and butter here on the farm. We grow and we sell a lot of zinnias. Almost everything that leaves this room has a zinnia in it. But when I picked the specific colors, I did it thinking of certain color palettes, right? I have the orange, which can be very punchy and very contrasted when put against a purple. But I also have an orange and a red that, you know, paired with a rudbeckia and the brown amaranth can be a very fall look. So I've kind of picked my colors so that they can do double duty depending on what I mix them with.
You hanging out for flower time though?
He's like, well, I gotta take a taste of all these buckets. I also try to plan for different seasonal color palettes. I know that in the summer, brights do really well. But as we go into the fall, you know, my sunflower is a good example. I'm starting to have more of these darker tones. There's no more white sunflowers coming at this point because those were all my summer sunflowers. As we go into those more fall tones, I have things planted specifically to suit that darker palette that sells quite well. So as much as I'm arranging different looks with the flowers that I have, as we, you know, move across the season, I'm also planning a year ahead of time for the specific color palettes that I see that do well in the different periods of time.
Okay, Serina, I got an idea. This week, we're gonna do a challenge. You're gonna make 6 different types of bouquets, and we're gonna see which one sells best at the market, and we have to guess which one we think will sell the most. So here are the rules. Each bouquet style will be made into its own bucket filled with, you know, 5 or 6 bouquets of that style. And we will number them, and I will track all the sales at the market to see which one is selling, which one is not selling, and if they all sell out, yeah.
Sellouts.
Then whichever one sold out first is the winner.
I need stakes. When I win, because we've already proven that I'm so right, what is going to be my prize when I win this contest?
I don't know, what do you want? How about a quiet, relaxing dinner with just you and the kids? Or how about a night on the town, running errands all by yourself? Or how about a spa day where you light some candles in the bathroom and you try to get all those soap stains off of our bathtub?
I have an idea, because I think you need a flower crown, but I have had 0 time to make it, and I've also been kind of slacking on even wanting to make it, so loser makes your flower crown. And then if you have to make it, then that will amuse me.
All right, that's a fair deal. Let's do it.
I've been working on getting some designs done. I have my ideas, so I'm gonna start wrapping some before we continue making more bouquets. I've already made 24, which you think means that I'm ahead of the schedule, I'm doing so good, but it's almost 11 o'clock already, so no, you're just major slackers today. The first style that I have designed for the challenge is basically a riff on what I've been calling my Van Gogh bunches. What I've been doing for a lot of the time this year is I've been using Rudbeckia to be the base for a big cheery sunflower bunch. I'm almost out of Rudbeckia at this point, boo. I'm going to miss it. But I've started to have a lot of marigolds. So this week, it's marigolds and sunflowers and a little bit of Rudbeckia to get that cheery yellow textures. This will be design number 1. I will be honest, the Van Gogh bunches, which started out super good sellers, that's why I've been doing it every single week, they've slowed down a little bit. I think that the excitement of yellow sunflower bunches just isn't quite as much there, so I don't know how well these are gonna do, but they're still just a beautiful look. I love the texture.
They still sell.
Yeah, they still sell. I'll quickly show how I wrap the bunches. So I have the paper, the square, folded diagonally offset, and then I lay it in the middle, I pinch it on the bottom, pieces together, and then I fold it over and staple it like that. Super simple. Works pretty good. And then I leave space in the bottom for the stems so that they can go in the bucket without the paper getting wet. Design number 2 is a yellow and purple, bright and cheery bunch. I got a little bit of the brown, which blends nicely with the purple, a whole mix of stuff with the zinnias, but sunflowers and purple tones. This, everyone always loves. The purples and the yellows. You know, like I said before, we had so much Rudbeckia. Now we have so many sunflowers. So I can keep doing these purple and yellow tones together.
This is nice in a bouquet.
Yeah, these always do well. And then having it be a mix of different things. You know, I got some status, a bunch of different stuff in there. It's definitely a contender. Style number 3 is a pinks bouquet. I have tons and tons of these coral fountain amaranths this week. So I'm doing something where I can pair it up with the pinks and the corals, you know, a little bit of that anise hyssop to something soft and pink and romantic. Very girly. Coral fountain amaranth and coral zinnias. Next, excellent seller is our Dahlia bunches. I only ever have a few Dahlia bunches every week. They just aren't producing very good. And then they're kind of always different but similar idea. So, you know, this bucket, they're gonna look quite different, but the theme is gonna be that they're what has my dahlias in them. I used mountain mint as the filler in this one. One of the first weeks that we've been using that, and it smells really nice. Look at that, the drapey amaranth. Style number 5 is always a classic. It's our dark bunch. I usually do one bouquet that is in a darker color palette. Ian's been loving the red, so I've been doing like reds and like these wine colored zinnias together. This week I have the first of my velvet curtain amaranths in there. I got some celosia. Yeah, so some fun ones. These always sell super well. These darker, more dramatic styles.
You don't really see a lot of stuff like this at the market.
Yeah, we do a mix of different fillers, which I think is maybe something that makes us a little bit different than some of the other vendors at the market. You know, like this, if I didn't have the dark amaranth, if I didn't have the cinnamon basil as the filler to kind of make the base, I don't think this would look as dark.
It's uniformly dark.
Yeah.
There's very little green in it.
Yeah, exactly. There's no green in this. Well, minimal amounts of green in this because even the fillers are dark. You know, and I strip off all the green foliage, so it's very uniformly dark. Our last style number 6, is my autumn palette style. So I got the hot biscuit, I got one of the darker sunflowers, orange, red, yellow. This stuff does really well once people are into the fall mind frame, having this kind of perfect fall palette. I sent these last week, they sold really poorly. People aren't thinking fall yet. But at this point, I'm gonna be sending this every week. When this starts selling, then I know it's time to, you know, do more of this fall look. This is what you love. You love the red, right?
This is fun fall.
Now let's put together the last of these options. The first one I'm gonna start with is the Van Gogh style. So I'm starting with some of these smaller Rudbeckias. Next up is style 2, which is brown, purple, and yellow sunflowers. Better, smaller. This is the last one.
Yep.
My bet is for the 6th style. I think people are gonna have those fall vibes. They're gonna be wanting their pumpkin spice lattes, they're gonna be pulling out their scarves, and they're gonna want those fall bouquets.
These are my pick. The dark ones always sell well. They stand out from everything else and people are drawn to them. I think it's a no-brainer to say these will sell.
Well, Ian, better warm up those. You were right, I was wrong, Muscles, because I feel like I got this one in the bag.
I gotta go load the truck up and then I'm off to bed. It's just after 5 in the morning and I am just about ready to head off to the market again. The market's been open for about an hour now, and I think the drama of this vlog is already over because those dark colored bouquets are almost sold out already. We've sold 4 of the 5 dark colored bouquets, and we have only sold I think 2 or 3 other bouquets in total. So yeah, I think that this one is pretty obvious where it's going. Now, to be fair, I did give it some excellent real estate. I put it right up in the front corner, but the last one actually sold from the overstock, which was back there. Somebody noticed it and they wanted it from back there. So just these dark colored bouquets, they just really get people's attention. Didn't film any updates during the course of the market today. It started off really slow and then all of a sudden it got super busy. We ended up selling almost $1,400. We sold $1,381, so that's really exciting. And as far as the bouquets go, we only have 4 of them left. So not all of these are the Van Goghs, but there are some Van Goghs in there. And obviously, we shouldn't call them Van Goghs. We should probably call them Van No's, because they're the only ones that didn't sell. Everything else sold out. At the start of the market, the dark colored bouquets started selling really fast. They sold 4 of the 5 very quickly. A couple of the other bouquets that were just kind of one-offs, a bunch of the Glad bouquets sold right away as well. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, the autumn color with the red zinnias sold out all 5 before the dark colored one could sell its last one. So today, the big winner was surprise, surprise, the autumn colors with the red zinnias. The veggies sold well, like the carrots sold out. Tomatoes, you can see that's all I have left for tomatoes, and I brought a lot down. So that's exciting. There's still lots of zucchini, but I brought way more zucchini than I could possibly ever sell. They're more to make the stand look full. Sometimes the customers at the end can be really good. They seem to have more of like a panic shopping mode, so you can really rack up the sales with some big order numbers. I really like to keep the stand merchandised well all the way to the end, so that the people that are here looking for food can see that, you know, we still have a big selection, and then I can try to grab some of those last minute frantic shoppers.
We just got back from the thrift store, and we're always getting messages saying that you guys would love to see what I look like when I'm not wearing farm clothes. So here it is.
What did you get, Leah?
A new dress.
Look nice.
Yeah.
Let's see a spin.
Okay, focus.
This was in the Halloween section at the thrift store, but I love 70s fashion, and this is like, whoa, best outfit ever. This is not a costume for me, but it's gonna be so long till I have an excuse to wear it anywhere. So hopefully you guys enjoy. This week, 4 of the 46 bouquets that we sent down to the market didn't sell.
That's borderline sellout territory.
When the bouquets come home from the market, we go through the ones that have stuff in it that will dry well, like this one. You know, maybe some of the basil, not so much, but pretty much everything else in this bouquet is gonna dry quite nicely. We take it, full bouquet, don't take the wrap off, and we hang it up to dry. And then, after a couple weeks, fully dry, they're already wrapped, they're already arranged, they're ready to go into our dried flower bouquet selling for the fall and winter. So then we just box them up and they're ready to go.
How cool is that one?
I know this one looks so good. Not all of our bouquets dry well, and so the ones that we know just aren't gonna look good, we bring those down to the food bank along with all of our leftover food from the market. That's where all the leftovers go. Not all of the flowers that we pick get turned into bouquets. All the leftovers, after I'm done, get bunched up and hung up to dry as well. They stay hung up here along our drying rack wire for a couple weeks until they're fully dry. These ones we just hung up a couple days ago. And then when the stems are completely dry, that's always the last spot to dry, we put them into boxes or bins so that they can be out of light to, you know, be in storage until we need them, because the light will take away the color. Look how much color is in the status. It's pretty incredible. We're growing a lot more of this next year.
Bo's eating spiders.
Good boy. I have them packed into boxes because the boxes, if there's any humidity still in there, the cardboard will breathe a little bit. I'd be a little bit nervous about packing them into a sealed plastic container. If there's any sort of residual moisture still in them, they could, you know, start to get mildewy, moldy, gross. We hang to dry a lot of stuff. We hang to dry stuff that a lot of other people wouldn't necessarily do because it's not super showy. You know, the status, it looks exactly the same dried, but I love the zinnias dried, but they change the look. Some flowers though, they really don't do much when they get hung to dry. Perfect example is sunflowers. Look how beautiful and showy these are, but when they dry, they turn into this, you know, kind of wispy and not really the same look. Another way to dry flowers, other than the hanging, which is what we do, is to put them in a silica sand. Wise Dry sent us a couple bags of this sand, so we are gonna give this a try. We're gonna see if we can get those sunflowers to look a little bit better if we dry them in this little bit more technical way. Because this stuff is very fine and it's silica, so you do not want to breathe that in. You should wear a mask, you should wear gloves. You know, you don't want to be touching it. And you definitely don't want to be breathing it. We have put in a piece of mesh screen into this container. This is going to be what we're going to dry in. The idea for this is when we go to take the flowers out of the sand, instead of having to dig around and try to find the flowers, we can just lift this, pull it up, all the sand stays in the container, flowers lift out, makes it super easy to unload the flowers without having to worry about digging them out and breaking the brittle, dry flowers. So we're gonna put this in first, and then we're gonna put a little bit of the sand down, and then we're gonna add our flowers. Okay. We have these sunflowers left over, so we're gonna see if we can make them look a little bit better than what they've looked like hanging up in here. Full disclaimer, this is our first experiment with it, so I don't know how these are gonna turn out. We're gonna have to try a lot of stuff, but I know at very least, I've seen people do zinnias in here, and it's incredible. They look amazing. One of the reasons why I love hanging stuff to dry is that you get to keep all the stem, right? So then you already have it on something. But we are wanting to do wreaths this year. So we don't need a stem because we can just, attach them right to the wreath, fully dried. So what we're gonna do, cut the stem off, and then you want to put it in, face down, into the sand. We don't want them to overlap, and we're gonna do a single layer. So then once you got it in, you pour the silica sand back over top of it until they're covered. And then we're gonna give it a week to 2, and then we're gonna check back and see how they're doing. But we also need to do some zinnias in here. So let's go grab a couple really showy zinnias too before we finish this completely off. We put a dahlia in too, right? Oh, let's do like one of these. Okay, we'll try a couple of the dahlias too. I have these dahlias. They've been so pretty, but they're so short that I haven't ever used them in the cut flowers. Maybe they'll be really pretty dried flowers, since we don't use the stem anyways.
Yep.
Oh, this here. Okay, something like this looks incredible. All of these, so cool. But you hang it to dry, just kind of goes to like a, browny pink color. So it would be so cool if we could get something to stay this big and this colorful. Hey, look at those. Here are these. These always go brown when they dry, so it'll be neat to see what kind of colors.
Because with the silica gel
Yeah, the colors
or the
are supposed
silica
to hold.
sand, you're supposed to be able to keep the color.
Yeah, the color should stay. It's still gonna fade because it's gonna dry, but it'll be.
A faded version of the same color instead of.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see, right? It's kind of all experiment.
But other people.
But other people have done, I've seen them, and they look incredible. Let's get our other bag. And now we wait and we see. We're gonna put this up somewhere where the kids and the cats won't get into it. Now we can take our safety gear off. The silica sand, I wouldn't be super into if it was like I had to buy those bags every single time I went to do a couple flowers, but it's actually reusable. You use it until there is too much moisture inside the sand, and then at that point you just need to dehydrate the silica to get the moisture out of it, and you can use it over and over and over again. So it is a lot going into that bin for just a few flowers, but every week fill the bin back up, or as soon as they're dry, and I can do it over and over and over again for probably a couple years. We don't actually know how these are going to turn out because we've never done this before, so make sure to stay tuned for grand reveal. I'm excited to see them.
As far as which bouquet sold the best during the farmer's market, it was a little bit of a surprise because the week before it hadn't sold very well, but it was the red zinnia fall colors bouquet. It sold out pretty early, and the dark colored one was a very close second. It was in the lead right off the bat. I had it merchandised in the best spot on the table, and I sold 4 bouquets before I'd sold any of the other bouquets, and I felt that was a bit unfair, so I moved it to the back. And then as soon as I moved it, the last one to the back, the fall colors with the red zinnias started selling like crazy, and that one sold out. And then as soon as that one sold out and won the contest, the one dark colored bouquet at the back, a customer came right up and she's like, I want a bouquet, I just don't know which one. And then she's like, that one in the back, and it was dark colors. So dark colors sold out like right afterwards, and it probably would have won if I kept it merchandised in the best spot the whole time. But I did not win the contest, which makes me sad. So I guess next week I will be making a dried flower crown.
I don't know about you guys, but I'm pretty excited to see Ian make a dried flower crown. I think he's going to be very frustrated with the brittle little flowers and having to wrap it onto the wire. And it's going to infinitely amuse me because he's always like, oh, all your flower stuff takes so long. So I'll get to heckle him. I'll heckle him while he makes it. And we'll all heckle him in the comments too.
Ever since the moment we bought this farm, people have been asking us, when are you going to get a dog? When are you going to get a dog? Well, we still haven't gotten a dog, but at the thrift store today, I got the next best thing. A new dog towel for the beach. Watch out, 2022. Where are my dogs? They're right here. What do you think of dogs, Bo? Bo's scared of dogs. Scared of dogs?